Hi guys, today's shout out goes to 𝕬🎧. Thank you for subscribing and being a subscriber, and if you would like a chance to get a shout out on my next video, make sure you're subscribed and make sure your subscriptions on YouTube are public so I can see you're subscribed. And yeah, let's get into the video. Sorry for another break from YouTube and Woozworld. I'm back though. You know, I have my monthly breaks from the game and stuff. Happens all the time. It's not even like a surprising thing anymore. And before I start, I want to say, just because you may know one of the things in this video already does not mean that everyone else does. So it is really not necessary for you to comment something like, everyone knows this, or like, I already knew this, because I don't care. I'm so sorry, but I don't care that you already knew. I don't care. I don't. And I don't really see a point in you commenting that. Like, okay, so what, and move on. It's not a big deal. This is part 2 to a video I posted like, I don't know, over a month ago, where I basically just told you guys some things, features, anything that was removed from Woozworld. I know it took me a long time to post part 2. I wasn't like expecting it to take this long, but it did, and I'm really sorry about that. I just got caught up in a lot of other things that I had to make videos about, such as scammers and stuff. If you haven't seen part 1, I will link it in the description so you can go watch it if you would like. Also, I am so in love with this cow floaty thing. It is so cute. Anyway, let's get into the video. If you're new to the game, you're probably like, what the heck is that? What is the original Wooz band? Well, you know how we have these people, Karamba, Plush, and yada yada? They host events and they are animators. They work for Woozworld. There was actually an original version of those people. I don't really know how to say it, but the original Wooz band consisted of Jenny Wooz, Maya Wooz, Jay Wooz, and Max Wooz. They were the original Wooz band. Maya Wooz and Jay Wooz were dating or got married. I don't really remember, and then Max and Jenny were the same. They would all host events, they would host separate events, they would host events together. They were kind of like advertised all over Woozworld. I know Maya Wooz would host a lot of fashion events and stuff related to fashion. I'm pretty sure Jenny had, she had this one event, it was like Jenny's questions. And there was this unit where you could click on this thing and type in a question, and then it would send it to Jenny Wooz. And then later on, she would host an event and answer all of the questions, or most of the questions that were put in. She also had a lot of events about animals and stuff. Max Wooz would host games. He had his own game show units. And I think Jay Wooz would often host unit design competitions and freestyle rap events, which were pretty fun and entertaining to watch. And they were pretty active animators, and they would all often host events and stuff, but I think a couple years ago, they stopped. Woozworld stopped talking about them anywhere, advertising them anywhere. They stopped having events and coming online. And then, you know, Karamba, yada yada, Plush, and then those people came in. I think Karamba is the only one who hosts events now, correct me if I'm wrong, but no one really knows why the original Wooz band members were discontinued, I guess. Woozworld never said anything about it. They never put anything out about it, as of my knowledge. And I'm also really confused because I don't know why they stopped having the original Wooz band. I don't really know why they got rid of them. When I hear anything about the original Wooz band, I feel really nostalgic because I remember all of their events, especially Maya's late night talk show, I think it was called. I think most, if not all, of their event units are still up and you can go look at some of them. I don't see any reason why Woozworld would like discontinue the original Wooz band and just kind of abandon them. I remember Max Wooz would always host his game show, and he would host like theme games and color games and stuff, and a lot of people would always go. And I remember Maya Wooz, her fashion shows or whatever. I remember all of their events, and I would always go to them, and then there would always be so many people in there that I could never actually get in. I think I did once, but it was a really long time ago, so I don't really remember. But yeah, the original Wooz band is gone. You know, now Karamba is the only one who hosts events and stuff now, and no one really knows why. Wuzzles were basically these puzzles that you could put together, and when you put them together, you would get a prize, I think ranging from beaks, items, to woo pets. And there were different rarities of them, and the higher the rarity, the better the prize. According to the Woozworld wiki, introduced on May 7th, 2013, Wuzzles were quite popular among Woozens. Wuzzles are little puzzle games that let you build great new items for your Woozen once you have collected all the pieces. Each Wuzzle consists of a Wuzzle board in multiple Wuzzle pieces. Once you have correctly placed all the pieces on the board, you will receive your prize, whatever item is shown on the Wuzzle. The rarities were common, uncommon, rare, very rare, extremely rare, and insanely rare. These things were found in your inventory, along with your furniture and clothes. I don't really know much about them because I never really paid much attention to them or really played with them when they were in the game, because for some reason I didn't really care about them, but I do remember trying them a few times, and I think I got a woo pet one time. I do know a lot of you guys miss these, and a lot of you guys interacted with these because I asked some people for suggestions for part 2 of this video, and a lot of people said Wuzzles. It doesn't say exactly when Wuzzles were taken out of the game, but they were a while ago for some reason. Again, no one really knows why. I don't know why. Woozworld never said anything about it. They just kind of disappeared. I don't really have much to say about these because, again, I never really used them, so yeah. Back in the day, sometimes it was possible for you to see a mod. You could spot one in a units, and you are actually able to private chat them. Now, I'm guessing Woozworld removed this because people were abusing it and spamming the moderator's private chat, so that does kind of make sense, but it was a pretty useful feature. Now, you just have to message them. I don't really know if they respond to their messages on Woozworld or even look at them. They probably do. But you used to be able to have conversations with them on Woozworld in private chat, so if someone was bothering you or doing something, you could private chat them about it and see if they would do anything. It is unfortunate that Woozworld removed this feature, but again, it does make sense. Foods were a thing on Woozworld a very long time ago, and basically it was a kind of food, and you could click on it and pay a certain amount of beaks, and you would eat it, and eating it would give you a different effect on your Woozen, and each food had a different effect. You could buy foods, but Woozworld removed these from the game. Not completely, you just can't buy them anymore, but they are very rare to find. The only way you can really get them is if you find an account that has it on them, or if you somehow find an old units that has it in them. There were many different types of foods, and the only one that's really in shops these days isn't really a food, but it's the effect Be Gone Water, and it costs 1 Wooz, and basically what it does is just take away any effects on your Woozen. There isn't a page on the Woozworld wiki for foods, so there's not much info about them out there. But yeah, they're really rare to find, and if you do find one in a unit, it will probably be locked by the owner. I have some on this account. You can see I have these cupcakes. I don't really know where they came from or where I got them from, but I've had them on my account for a while. All foods are also non-transferable, so you cannot buy them or trade them. You can't get them that way. The only way you can get them, again, like I said, is if you have an account with some on them from years ago, or you find units that has them and they're unlocked. You know how you can put stuff in a shop pods and sell it for beaks? You could actually do that, but sell it for Wooz. Back in the very, very, very old days, you were able to sell your stuff in a shop pods for Wooz as well as beaks. People would make Wooz shops where everything they were selling was for Wooz. They would make beak shops, which is, you know, where they sell everything for beaks. And sometimes you could actually sell stuff for both Wooz and beaks. You can actually find very old Woozworld units where the items are still being sold for Wooz in their shop pods. But the thing is, if they are set for Wooz, you cannot buy them. It won't let you. It will give you an error message, I think, saying that this item cannot be sold or something. That was pretty cool how you were able to do that, but it's pretty obvious that the reason they removed that is because they wanted you to buy Wooz with real money so that you would spend money on their game. If you search up units and look up Wooz shop, I'm very sure that you will find a bunch of old units that have a lot of stuff being sold for Wooz, but like I said, the thing is you just can't buy it, but it is kind of cool to look at, especially because a lot of the items being sold are old. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I will link part 1 in the description. If you'd like a chance to get a shout out in my next video, make sure you're subscribed and make sure your subscriptions on YouTube are public so I can see you're subscribed. Thank you for watching. That's all I have for today. I love you guys so much, and goodbye.